You may think you're charging out $140 an hour for your labor, but are you really getting that back through the invoices? I'm Rachel Evans from the Workshop Whisperer, and this is day 27 of Shop Talk, the 30-day auto repair shop owners reset. At the Workshop Whisperer, we've been helping auto repair shop owners just like you to achieve business success since 2012, which is why I know from experience of a dozen years that the labour rate you're charging out is likely not the one you are receiving back in, even where you can see it written on your invoices. And the reason for that is because of something called the effective labour rate. It's one of the 15 benchmark metrics we help auto repair shop owners with here at the Workshop Whisperer inside of our engine room and $1 million mechanic boardroom programs. And it's something you should be measuring at least weekly in your own repair shop. Doesn't matter what kind of repair that you do. So let's jump into it a little bit closer. So there's your advertised labour rate. We've spoken about why you should have multiple labour rates earlier in this 30-day series, so I'm not going to go back there, but we're just going to talk about the one that you would tell a customer if they rang up and said, how much is your labour per hour? Thankfully, most shops don't have that query very often. But let's say it's $140. And that's the one that's sitting there on your invoices, hopefully inside of a kit, so that it's just a total labour amount that goes on the invoice. But the invoicing software that you're using, if you're in Australia and New Zealand, that might be Mechanic Desk, for instance, you've got loaded in there that the hourly rate for a service is $140 an hour. Now, that is what you will charge the customer for the actual hours that you're able to charge to the job. But we all know that over the course of any week, you are probably writing off a small amount, or for some of you, a large amount of your hours. And if you're not writing them off, if you're a smaller business or you're just getting started and you're actually under capacity, meaning you don't have enough cars to actually sell all of your hours, there are going to be hours that go unbilled. And that affects the actual labour rate that you're receiving every week. So let's say you're a shop that has 160 hours a week to sell based on the hours available for your technicians combined. Okay. So just for simplicity's sake, we've got 4 technicians and they all do 40 hours a week, okay? 160 hours. Now, if we sell even 1 hour less than that 160 hours, which in many shops, it would be a common scenario that the 160 isn't sold. If we sell less, that immediately drops the overall hourly rate that we receive into the business. The effective labour rate, which is the actual measure, is looking for a success marker that is 10 to 15% lower than your advertised rate. So if you advertise 140, if you're within 10% of that when you add up all the hours that you did sell and had available to sell, and you did the effective labour rate equation that we have at the Workshop Whisperer, and you divide it into the total dollars from labour, if you're within 10% of what the full charged hours amount would be, then that's within benchmark. But many shops that come to us are way below their effective labour rate benchmark. Now, this is just one approach of improving the labour profit that is going through your business. And labour profit is so important because, as I mentioned in earlier in this series, every extra minute you're able to bill, provided no other expenses increase in the business, every extra minute will transfer as money to your bottom line. Labour profit, pure labour profit, because we've already incurred all of the labour expenses in doing that job. So when we have the issue of unsold hours, whether that's because we wrote them off or we don't have the work to supply to the technicians because we're under capacity, our effective labour rate drops. So it's one of 3, sometimes 4 components of why your labour profit isn't where it should be, not sitting inside the labour benchmark. Now, after you've been in one of our programs, you can actually expect, in many cases, that your effective labour rate becomes higher than your advertised rate. That means consistently your team is selling more hours than they actually had available to work. And that is usually coming from A players being in the technician role, A player at the service desk who's able to sell the extra hours for the technicians to be able to bill. So one of the things that I would love for you to understand as we draw to a close in this 30-day Auto Repair Shop Owners Reset moving into the new year is that everything that is happening inside your auto repair shop business is fueling part of an ecosystem. And when you've got even just the majority of the components in that ecosystem firing together, supporting the results of all the departments, when you've got team members not just working in silos, turning up for a paycheck, but helping, collaborating with each other to achieve an overall result, it becomes much, much easier to achieve the outcomes that you went into business for in the first place. And that's why we as a company helping auto repair shop owners achieve business success have been able to help clients to the results that we have been able to for the past 12 years and shall continue to do so in the future, because we bring the success markers and the success strategies for all areas of the auto repair shop owner ecosystem to you inside of our programs. And it's why in our coaching calls, inside of our curriculum, in our Workshop Whisperer University, we'll only ever guide you just to take that one next step, because we've got to work on each component until all components are humming together. And as I mentioned, there's 3, sometimes 4 ways to come at labour profit increase. So have a look at your effective labour rate. Have a think about, am I under capacity? Do I have the work to supply to my technicians? If not, do we have an upsell identification problem? So that's sitting on the technician side. Do we have an upsell conversion problem? That would be sitting on the service advisor side. Can we sell more hours that way? Or do we simply not have enough vehicles coming through to supply the opportunity to sell more hours in the first place? And if you do have the right amount of opportunity, what is leading to those hours not being sold? That one can result in poor efficiency from your technicians, poor systems and processes. Things could bottleneck. You could be overbooking, all manner of things, which is why effective labour rate is such a great benchmark to dive into. If you're new here on the channel, make sure you subscribe. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. Send it far and wide. We'll be back with you tomorrow for day 28 of Shop Talk, the 30-day reset for auto repair shop owners.